What really happened is the fact that a few months ago, I was literally in this season of purpose, right? So I've always wanted to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And it was around this time before I came back to YouTube, around late of 2023, when I was actually thought about like wanting to actually make Roblox studio content, but I just started realizing it really wasn't a thing that I could actually offer to the world. It isn't really something that I would actually do for a long period of time. So one of the things I've thought about is like, what is it that I want to do? What is it that I really want to do with my life? Because, I've struggled with this for years, and I've struggled with this for like since around at the age of 16. A lot of people, they'd often, tell you that, what do you want to study, or like what career do you want to study? And I made a video about this week about like, if you don't know how to find your career, and it's normal for that to happen. Like, I don't know what I want to study, or I don't know what I want to do. I lack a sense of direction or purpose. And I was in this huge like rabbit hole of like flipping business models to business models, because it's just like, we've often been told by these people that you shouldn't follow your passion. And some people would often tell you that you should follow your passion. Some people say you shouldn't follow your passion. And it's really hard to understand that. I guess work is actually meant to be the fun thing to do, right? And I think with passion is equivalent to love. And I think you have to love what you do, but at the same time, it has to be aligned with what you're willing to, solve a problem with, especially if you're trying to start a business, right? So I kind of agree but disagree about what they say about like you shouldn't follow your passion, because I think when you do what you love, you're basically going to stick there for a long period of time. But it all comes down with really being good at the thing and focusing on mastery, right? Because you're not going to enjoy the thing at first. You're not going to always enjoy doing a thing at the start of it. But I started to realize that when you become exposed to, a sense of mastery, when you become really, really, really good at the thing, and you find a lot of like curiosity or interest in it, and that's what's literally going to make you, enjoy doing the thing. So that's really why I don't get the point why people say don't follow your passion, which I do believe you should do what you love, but understand like there's going to be a lot of things that you're not going to do, that you're not going to like doing at the start of it, that later on in the future when you get really good at it, that basically comes in return. And as well, that has to align with something that the world needs, right? I hate when these self-help gurus, they often lie to you that you should follow your passion by just not ever thinking about it, or like you shouldn't find your purpose by just not thinking about it. But in order to find your purpose, it's not just about waiting for the moment, or waiting for like you wake up early in the bed and just wait for your purpose to happen, right? It isn't like where you have to squeeze a fucking rabbit every time and it's like, oh yeah, I found my purpose. Like, that's not how it works, right? If you want to find your purpose, you have to explore your curiosities. You have to develop skills. You have to be more practical. You have to actually start figuring out like, what is it that you can offer to the world, and stop trying to think about what the world has to offer to you, right? So you have to think about what is it that the world needs, and what isn't that you're really good at, and what you're passionate about. And if you can align these things, that could basically become your purpose. This huge like ikigai concept, and I'm kind of a bit of a huge fan of that. But you have to understand that I believe it's possible, because I've seen so many people do it. Like, I remember I've seen a bunch of really YouTubers that I used to look up to that relied on this huge like purpose and profit thing, because I really want to monetize my passion. I literally want to do something I love, and want to treat it as if it's something I do for a living. Like that's so fucking cool, honestly. Like, that's really something I really love doing, and that's the reason why I'm still stuck in this rabbit hole of like not knowing what I want to study. Because like, you have to understand, like when you want to do something, or when you want to actually get into like this huge like business or career, it takes a long time, right? You have to understand, like, you have to pick it in, and even Evolve mentions this, is that you have to pick an industry where you can actually play long-term games with long-term people, right? And that's what we want to do. We want to actually be more creative with the things that we do, right? Because if we don't follow our passion, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna be able to be creative? I'm just like, what the fuck happened to creativity? Like, what the fuck happened to creativity? I ask myself just like every single time, like, what the fuck happened to creativity? Are we supposed to be working 9 to 5 jobs and work for some, boss that we fucking hate? And that's the reason why a lot of people will hate their jobs, because they lack creativity. They lack creativity and control, and they really don't have a sense of meaning or impact to the world, right? At the same time, it's true of what they say, that you shouldn't really follow your passion. Like, I see most of these, like these football players, right? Like, it's like they often don't really like their lives, mostly because they don't really have a sense of control, because they often have to sign contracts every now and then, right? And they also don't have the sense of meaning to their own purpose, right? But that's why at the same time, how can you be able to align, passion or maybe purpose as well, and align it with the market? How can they both overlap? And that's something I've always been researching for. Like, I've been in this huge season of like researching all this whole bullshit. Like, I was reading the E-Myth, I was reading the Millionaire Fast Lane, I was reading Soga the Kananori, I was reading Ikigai. I was literally reading like a shit ton of books, and just as well learning from my own experience the fact that when I used to actually make money from Google AdSense, when I used to make money from YouTube AdSense, when I used to be making like Roblox games and shit like that, I fucking hated it, bro. Like, I just hated it. And the reason I hated it is because I was so focused on what other people want, but I really wasn't focused on what my curiosities really is. Because at the same time, you want to be interested. You actually want to follow your own curiosities, because with more curiosity is basically more equivalent to like life experiences. And with that is what literally builds more, joy into work, right? So it technically doesn't make any sense. It's really sad, the fact of like, you should follow your passion, you should monetize your passion. But I know, like, back in those days, there really wasn't passion. Like, if you think about the people who build towers, who used to build pyramids, and you can have an opinion about that, but who builds these things from the test of time, like, yeah, they didn't really follow their passion, but at least they are contributing to the world. Like, they're literally like making an impact. And it's so sad that, people who are literally making an actual impact to the world, if you think about like the guys who would have to work every single fucking time to make the world a better place, like building roads, building infrastructure, building towers, building cities. Like, it's kind of sad how like they just don't get a lot of respect, but a lot of people would often have a lot of respect on influencers and people who often make these shit TikTok. And that's why I'm here, though. Basically, it's just the fact that I would often have this fear of what other people think of me, and I would often think of what other people would think of me when I make content on YouTube. But I start to realize, like, when I make content, I basically have a voice, and I basically have something that I could actually provide to my audience, that I could provide for my people. If these people that I know from high school who would make these fucking TikTok videos of like these silly dance moves, then why can't I just do something that could possibly save someone's life? And I remember I was literally crying in bed a few days ago, and I was just thinking about, like, wow, like, I could do something greater than that, and I could do something better that could establish a sense of impact to other people, rather than just like entertaining people, making people feel stupid and retarded. Like these people that you often see from school that would often make these TikToks and silly dance moves, just trying to entertain people and wanting people to have like a shit amount of dopamine. And I can guarantee you, like, I don't think they're gonna watch this entire video. Like, I can guarantee you, like, if people are gonna actually, like, I'm not really exactly scared of what other people will think of me, or like people from my past would look up and watch my videos, because I know that they're not going to even watch my entire video, because how like their attention spans are so fucked. So at the same time, you need to impact and align it with what you're passionate about. And you become passionate about it when you become really good at the thing, when you actually build a lot of skills that the world really needs. There's this huge thing that's called a craftsman mindset and the passion mindset. And the passion mindset always believes that what can the world offer to me? The craftsman mindset is that what is it that I could offer to the world? And you want to go for the person who actually could offer to the world, because no one's going to give you what you want in life. God isn't going to give you what you want to do in your life, or the universe isn't going to always give you what you want in life. It's not like this huge like law of attraction bullshit that these self-help gurus try to tell you about. It's just bullshit. Like, I remember I listened to some podcast, I'm like, what the fuck, bro? I'm just like, what the fuck, dude? Like, how am I going to find my purpose then? And if you want to find your purpose, build skills, build valuable skills that a lot of people are going to be like, holy shit, what have you done? So that's all I can tell you, man. It's really sad, but like, it's really crazy. But it's just the fact that a lot of people always say you shouldn't follow your passion, but you should actually do what you love, and at the same time be authentic in the things that you're doing. Because when you're authentic and when you're making things that you also have some sort of love for it and commit to it in the long run, because let's be honest, like, everything is an infinite game, right? Your career is, I can guarantee you, it's probably going to be long term. It's going to probably be like some sort of infinite game, and in order to win the game is basically to stay the game. It's to basically be the last man standing. And whether it's in business or YouTube or whatever, or in your relationship or in your health, it's the infinite game. You have to keep playing it every single time. And I've had this situation when I've seen a lot of people ending up quitting YouTube, and it really saddens me, though. Like, just when I often see a lot of people would often quit YouTube, because I guess I was in this situation as well back in 2022, late 2022. I ended up quitting YouTube because I was extremely burnt out. I was literally having like this huge like uploading schedule like once a week, and I hated it. Like, I edited all my videos, I did the thumbnails, I did everything else, and I just hated every single aspect of it. And I didn't really like the audience who I was basically targeting. Like, I don't know who I was targeting. I was just targeting like fucking like 14-year-olds, 12-year-old kids that truly doesn't resonate with me. And they would often ask me like, hey, can you go build my game? Can you go build my game and stuff like that? And I got kind of annoyed. Like, I just feel like they're just not people who I'm interested in working with. I don't really like those kinds of people. And I don't mean to like be nice, but like, I don't mean to be mean, but like, it's just, when you want to start a business, like, you basically have to target an audience who you are happy working with. You can't just accept everyone else or every person to actually come to your life. And that's what's so fucked up about the whole like, oh yeah, don't follow your passion. Like, come on, dude, you can't make content that's trying to appeal to the masses. You're not gonna always make content just to please everyone. Practice what I preach. Like, I've been through a situation, I was literally making the content just so that I could please everyone else. Stop trying to please everyone else and focus on trying to give value that truly sticks out to you. Focus on trying to give value that sticks out to you, and that you really think that you really think you can share this to anyone else. So yeah. So what they were saying is like, oh yeah, you're special, you're unique. Like, that's bullshit, dude. There's a lot of people who you can relate to, and I'm not gonna lie, I can guarantee you, like, there's a lot of people who watched me like years ago, right? And they probably don't really get into Roblox developing anymore. Like they're not really into it anymore. Like who's gonna watch them now, right? Like they have different interests now. So that's why at the same time, when I just want to make content that's based upon my own interests, I can stay there for a long period of time. When you make stuff that you're interested in, you're willing to stay there for a long period of time. And when you're willing to stay there for a long period of time, you become irreplaceable. And when you become irreplaceable, you win the game. Because by winning the game of, you know, business or in any sort of like category in, you know, wealth, health, and relationships, it's by being the last man standing. By being the last man standing, because it's never gonna end. There's basically no finish line in life. And that's what, you know, the school system really never told us about. You know, they often tell us that you should always study a career, like this is like the fate of us, and like this is like if we don't find what career to study, like we're fucked, right? And you have to understand, like, it is long term, but you have to understand, like, are you willing to commit to studying some shit career for a long period of time, right? If you want to do it, go for it, right? Like, I have nothing against you. If you want to actually study a career in college, like, go for it, man. Go for it. Like, I believe that the world basically needs those kinds of people, right? The world needs engineers, doctors, lawyers. Like, the world needs those kinds of people. So I have nothing against that, but like it's just at the same time you also have to have some sort of like interest or curiosity in it, because you have to be a little bit interested and a little bit curious about these things that spark you. And I think that's what literally, you know, establishes a sense of impact and creativity and control. So I think like as a synthesizer, like you basically have to just explore and follow your curiosity and maybe go out into the world and have some life experiences. It doesn't really have to just be, you know, going out every now and then, maybe like spend some time researching and maybe spend some time trying to see what works out for you. Like I make content that's I'm interested in. I don't really just focus on what the market really wants. You know, I have my own standards and I have my own ambitions. So I try to always make content that suits to my own interests. I don't really like to just become a slave to other people. I don't want to be a slave to YouTube. I want YouTube to be a slave to me. So, you know, I often ask myself, like, if you have ever won like millions and millions and millions of dollars in a lottery, would you still do it? Would you still make content on YouTube? And yeah, I would, but I wouldn't like start to like go aggressively. Like I wouldn't really be making those kinds of videos, like these how to make a city videos or these Roblox developing videos. Like I'd probably make the content that I'm genuinely interested in, not of what other people would think, or not trying to appeal to the masses. And I see it in most games too. You know, I see most of these fucking AAA games, like they try to make games just to appeal to everyone else and try to please everyone else. But I believe that the game that, you know, makes games that these developers actually want to play, those are going to be the kinds of guys who are going to win. Like if you think about Elden Ring, right? Like that's how Elden Ring became really successful, because Elden Ring wasn't meant to please everyone else. Like the guy who made it, like the developers of Elden Ring, like they did it because they were interested in it. You know, they say this really good thing, like we want to make games that we actually want to play, right? So why don't you do the thing? Why don't you do the same thing with content and in your business as well? Like in your content, in your business, etc., right? And whatever you're doing, like make games that you actually want to play. Like actually, because you're not going to always please everyone else. Like everyone's different based upon their own opinions. And yeah, there's a lot of people who could relate to you, but it really doesn't matter. Just make whatever suits you and whatever the world basically needs, because at the same time you have to actually focus on what the world really needs and what you're willing to make an impact to society and what you're willing to contribute. Because purpose is basically like, you know, trying to contribute, right? You're not here just to wander around, right? And you're not just going to wait for the world to give you what you want. You have to go out and explore and focus on establishing skills, maybe focus on what you're interested in and then talk about it and then make and share about it. Like consume, curate, create. So yeah,